Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat.
All you can eat.
Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity, yum. It's like a dream.
That's right, it's like a dream. Taco Tuesday, celebrating the quintessential American food. That's right, take something that came from someplace else, mix it all up, make it our own, and therefore it is now authentically American. Yeah, gotta love tacos, gotta love tacos. I have no idea what kind of tacos my daughter, Jasmine, is going to be making for us tonight, but I'm willing to bet it's going to be good because, well, let's be honest, she's the best cook in the house. That's the funny part. I am the worst cook in this house. I think even my 6-year-old granddaughter's probably a better cook than me. Although I can cook especially meat. Now you give me a chance to cook some meat, I will on a grill. Oh, well, okay, technically that's not cooking, that's grilling, but I know my way around a grill. Anyway, good times will be had. We'll have us some excellent tacos this evening. Maybe I'll let y'all know tomorrow what kind of tacos they actually are. Normally I get kind of a preview of the menu. No such luck today, but it's all good. It's all good. Mike is off doing a Civil Air Patrol today, so it's just going to be us today. So would love to encourage you, if you're watching us live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Rumble. Please go ahead and comment. Let us know what's up. Let us know what you think about the topics that we're discussing today. Or, even let us know what you, if you want to talk about something else. If there's something else that we don't have on here, let us know. Maybe we'll find time to fit it in the conversation, or maybe we'll use it as a topic tomorrow. But I just put it this way: if you don't, what's the word? The Bible says, "Ye have not because ye ask not." So here's your chance to go ahead and ask and let us know what's up, what you think, what you want to talk about. All right, that's going to then bring us, before we get into our stories, that's going to bring us to the business portion of the program, and that is giving a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with Hitman Industries. Hitman Industries has rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to rebarrel your current rifle or to do a brand new build. And if you are a first responder and never purchased from them before, you're going to get a discount. So check them out today at hitmanindustries.net. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly working behind enemy lines in order to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Go to their website, cragop.org, cragop.org. Check them out and become a member today. Remember, if you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we've got Hog Holsters. They have the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available for you in these United States. All you got to do is go to their website, hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word. You're going to get a Hog holster on discount on us. So check them out today. That's Hog Holsters. And then finally, as the weather is changing, we know that your gear has got to change, right? You're probably going to be looking for some more wet weather gear. You're going to be looking for some cold weather gear as we start to proceed into the winter. Whatever you're looking for, trust me, they have all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. Great. They have great selection, huge selection. They have very competitive prices, fast shipping. But you need to go check them out today. Once again, that's uscombatgear.com. All right, let's get into today's stories. We talked a little bit last week about how both the Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times have opted to not endorse in this upcoming presidential race. And needless to say, it's caused major stirs. There are people who are part of the editorial team there at the WaPo and the Los Angeles Times who, because they have decided to not endorse, they've opted to quit. right? And we'll talk a little bit later about all the cancellations that are taking place, about how many people are canceling their subscriptions. But Jeff Bezos decided to, on the opinion page there in the Washington Post, decided to defend his decision. And it actually was quite interesting, and I got to tell you, from what and once again, I looked at it kind of from a different perspective, only because I'm not going to give money to the Washington Post, so I had to kind of get it on the low, on the back end, on the bootleg. So I don't have access to the website, but I do have access to a number of other websites that will tell you what it said. I have actually read it. Anyway. All that having been said, Jeff Bezos defends Washington Post non-endorsement, says Americans don't trust media. And that's really what it's come down to is what he is saying is he really, it's kind of funny. He starts it off by saying, look, only Congress is less trusted than the mainstream media. And the whole point behind what he was saying is, look, if we are seen as partisans, and yes, the Washington Post is seen as partisans, clear and obvious partisans, because most of the people in their editorial staff are left-wing nut jobs. Most of the people who are writing for them are left-wing nut jobs. In fact, we brought up this number the other day. Only since they started doing endorsements in 1976, this was when Reagan was running against Ford. In 1976 was the first time they had done endorsements. And oh, by the way, ever since then, they have only endorsed the Democratic candidate for president. I think the one time they may not have endorsed, I think, was George H.W. Bush versus Dukakis was the only time. And in that case, they did not endorse the Republican. They just couldn't bring themselves to endorse the Democrat. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it's been. But the whole point that he's making is that, maybe, just maybe, we ought to try and, rather than alienate half the country, maybe we should take a look at what we're doing. And I'll read here. It says here, this is being reported by CNBC. Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos on Monday defended his newspaper's controversial decision not to endorse a candidate in the presidential election as a, quote, meaningful step in the right direction. Not right as in... not right as in right of center, but right as in correct direction, to regain America's lost trust in news media. But Jeff Bezos also said, I wish we had made the change earlier than we did in a moment further from the election and the emotions around it. That was inadequate planning and not some intentional strategy. Bezos's comments in the Washington Post op-ed were published as the newspaper's editorial and circulation staff continued reeling from the newspaper's bombshell announcement Friday that they would no longer endorse candidates for the White House after doing so for decades. Quote, presidential endorsements do nothing to tip the scales of an election, wrote Bezos, the billionaire founder of Amazon, who purchased the Post in 2013. No undecided voters in Pennsylvania are going to say, I'm going with newspaper A's endorsement. None, he wrote. What presidential endorsements actually do is create the perception of bias, a perception of non-independence. Ending them is a principled decision and the right one. The op-ed with the headline, quote, the hard truth, Americans don't trust news media, was published hours after NPR reported that the Washington Post had lost more than 200,000 subscribers since Friday's announcement by CEO Will Lewis that they would end the endorsements. So, once again, as we're looking here, just to be very clear, the whole point he's trying to make is they want to end this. They want to end this assumption that they are biased. Well, and I think I do believe that in interviews, or I have heard comments that they are actually looking to add more conservative voices to their opinions page, but they also need to consider it in their writing staff and in their editorial staff. And I say that for this reason. is that even the articles that are written at the Washington Post tend to lean left. They cover subjects that are really only interesting to the left. And they take perspectives that are only open to the left, and they really don't do a good job of making sure they have diverse voices. And when I say diverse, I'm not talking about people of color. Or people of different genders or people of different religions. I'm talking about it generally tends to have only left-wing liberals that are quoted, or at least 90% of the article is left-wing liberals. And if there might possibly be a conservative that is quoted in the particular piece, it's only done so in one sentence, in one paragraph, somewhere near the end of the article. And it's really only done as a, just in case you were wondering, yeah, we did talk to somebody else. Now, having been involved in the Second Amendment community for years, I got used to this. I would always, if I got a call from any liberal mainstream media, and I realize I'm probably repeating myself at this point, but anytime I got a call, I always did the interviews. I always talked with them. I always answered their questions. But I always made sure to try and get things quoted. I always worked to try and get quoted, right? I always made sure that not only did I share with them facts, data, and information, but I tried to do it in a way that I could get it in a sentence or two that would wind up in the paper. Because I know that 90% of the article is going to be anti-gun, but if I can get people to see my name, the organization, and the quote that was positive or that made the point, then I knew that people who were really interested in our perspective would look me up. They would look up the organization that I was representing. And then they could get a fuller and clearer picture of what it is that we stood for, or what it is that we were arguing, in particular on some of those various different points. Because I can't tell you the number of times that I've given what I thought were some very good interviews. I thought I gave some very, very good nuggets, and I backed it up with data and information, only to have all of the good stuff left out, only to have all the data left out. So that happens a lot. I always say, what I'll say is this: I've only had one instance with the media where I've had my position, what I've said, misrepresented. Oftentimes it's just underrepresented, meaning I didn't get in all the good points that I wanted to make. I didn't always get in the best points that I wanted to make, but at least 99 times out of 100, they didn't lie on me. So I will give them that. But anyway, but basically what you got Jeff Bezos saying is, look, if we want people to trust the public, and by the way, if people don't trust us, guess what they don't do? They don't subscribe, right? They don't pay for the publication. Because think about it. What publications do you pay for, right? You don't pay for folks that are pushing the sorts of anti-American propaganda that a lot of these mainstream media folks put out there, right? Well, the problem that they created is this. So you create this bias. It's in your reporting and it's in your opinion. So it's in every aspect of your publication. Then you decide, you say, we're going to try and be neutral, right? Objective. Well, you've already been force feeding them for decades left-wing lies. So if you've been feeding them left-wing lies and now all of a sudden you just want to go normal, well, guess what they're going to do? You guessed it. They're going to rebel. And that is exactly what is taking place within the Washington Post. Now, the article that I just quoted you basically said that they had lost about 200,000. Well, it's higher than that now. It's actually gone up, and this is as of today. I want to say about 11 a.m. Washington Post cancellations hit 250,000, about 10% of their subscribers. It says here, deterioration of the Washington Post subscriber base continued on Tuesday, hours after its proprietor, Jeff Bezos, defended the decision to forego formally endorsing a presidential candidate as a part of the effort to restore trust in media. The publication has now shed 250,000 subscribers, or 10% of the 2.5 million customers it had before the decision was made public on Friday, according to NPR reporter David Folkenflik. A day earlier, 200,000 had left, according to the same outlet. The numbers are based on the number of cancellation emails that have been sent out, according to a source at the paper. Though the subscriber dashboard is no longer viewable to employees. Gee, I wonder why that is. The Washington Post has not commented on the reported numbers. The famed Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward said on Tuesday he disagreed with the paper's decision, adding that the outlet was, quote, an institution reporting about Donald Trump and what he's done, and supported by the editorial page. Bezos framed the decision as an effort to support journalists and journalism, noting that in surveys about trust and reputation, journalists and the media have regularly fallen to the very bottom, just above Congress. Now, I want to go back to this real quick, and he talks about the issue of trust, right? A lot of people don't realize that this is not an ideological decision that Jeff Bezos has made. This is a money decision, right? The same decision that the publisher of the LA, or the owner of the LA Times, made. The LA Times last year lost almost $80 million. I'm not talking made $80 million less. I mean, they lost $80 million. Look, these are people who are multimillionaire, in this case, billionaires, right? They didn't get to be billionaires by losing money, in particular by throwing them away. And here's the thing, and I'll tell you, this has to do with him wanting more people to be willing to read their paper. Once again, you look at the polls, the nation is pretty much split in half. And half the nation has decided that they don't trust the Washington Post. They don't trust the LA Times. They don't trust the New York Times. They don't trust ABC, NBC, CBN, CNN, CNBC. They don't trust any of them. And they're all in competition for only half of the country, if that. And you've got some who are on the far, far left, like the MSNBCs, who even many liberals won't pay attention to. Independents just flat out ignore them. But a lot of liberals won't pay attention to them, right? The Mother Joneses and the Huffington Posts of the world. But you still have a lot of competition for that, centrist type of folk. Well, the reason why Fox News is the most watched news is, I'll just be real, it's not because it's the best. It's because for the longest time, they were the only ones on the right. And when I say on the right, the ownership is not on the right. A lot of their management is not on the right. But they have opted to report news, at least allowing a more conservative perspective to cover news that conservatives want to hear. Right? Now, I'm not talking about ignoring news. I'm just saying conservatives aren't interested in hearing about global warming. They want to hear about the economy. Right? They're not interested in hearing about Israeli media from all perspectives. From the right, from the left. I mean, I deal with it all. And I can tell you right now, there are two different stories that are taking place here in these United States. Right? And I'll tell you right now, one side is being completely gaslit, and conservatives. All of the stories that you'll see that are out there right now are all about themselves. Had five, bagging on people, and bagging, for those of you who do not know, is a term from back in the day, making fun of people, right? That's how he makes his living. Now, I don't know why you put that guy on the stage with a week and a half to go before the election. That didn't make any sense to me, but okay. But this is a comedian. If you follow him, and people seem to like him, he seems to be very popular. Liberals don't have a problem with him when he's telling jokes about other people. Just, when they can take it and say, oh, it's a Donald Trump thing, and try to make Donald Trump look racist. I mean, think about this. Donald Trump is catching more slack for what the comedian said than the comedian did. Go figure. Anyway. But they're losing money. And they're realizing they've closed themselves off to an entire market. And they're like, you know what? We need to find a way to open it back up. We need to find a way where we can get, they're not going to get the far right of the far right. They probably won't get the far left of the far left back. They'll get them back some, but they won't get the far right of the far right. But if they can open it up to people on the right who are at least open, if they can get people back who are reasonable in their eyes, people who are at least open to hearing what they have to say, which, by the way, I think is most people, then they need to expand into those markets. And the only way you can't do that if you have a reputation of being biased. And right now, the Washington Post, LA Times, completely and utterly biased. And there's not a doubt in my mind when you ask me about them. And by the way, just so you know, it's not just them. You know, CNN, and I'm not saying the CNN is endorsing or not endorsing or anything like that, but CNN has made a concerted effort to seem less left-wingy, left crackpot left-wingy, right? They're still there in some areas, but there's a reason why Cuomo's gone. There's a reason why Don Lemon is gone. Some of the folks that got rid of for some reason made their way back. I don't know how that happened, but they're not the only ones. Shoot. Even the USA Today has decided they're going to join the Washington Post and the LA Times in not endorsing a presidential candidate. Why are they doing it? I wish I could say that was because they wanted to promote democracy, but it's not. It's about money. And if they can actually do their jobs, if they can actually report the news, fair and balanced or objective media, however you want to portray it, then you know what? Maybe I will kick a few dollars down to get some objective news. Maybe. But my thing is I'll believe it when I see it. Now, let's talk about non-objective. Let's talk about just gaslighting. And the left is full of gaslighters. They truly are. So Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan. So far to date on YouTube alone, it's gotten more than 36 million views, right? 36 million views on YouTube. And that's not even the main platform. The main platform is Spotify. I haven't seen the Spotify numbers yet, but suffice it to say, Joe Rogan's average podcast gets 10 million downloads. Average. So you got to believe this is like way, way, way up there. But she is so out. So by the way, Kamala decided she's going to go on the Shade Room. She's going to go see Shay, right? That's Shannon Sharp's show, which became famous only when what's his name? Little dude, Cat Williams went on there and said a bunch of crazy things or things that appeared to be crazy about various different black people in the entertainment industry, including Diddy, which was almost prophetic, to be honest with you. I don't want to say prophetic. He knew what was going on is what it was. But anyway, so she decided to go on there. Now, there are a lot of things that she has accused Donald Trump of. And by the way, her final push is all about Donald Trump is going to be a dictator. Donald Trump is going to trample on all of our rights. We can't trust Donald Trump because Donald Trump is this and Donald Trump is that. But no one would have ever suspected that anyone would think that they could accuse Donald Trump of trying to take away our Second Amendment rights. But that's exactly what she accused him of.
Unreasonable search and seizure. Your Fifth Amendment right. Mm-hmm. Your Sixth Amendment right to an attorney.
Well, a lot of rights going to be gone. The First Amendment.
But the First Amendment, the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Look, I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I don't believe we should be taking anybody's guns away. He wants to terminate the Constitution of the United States.
Okay, he never said he wanted to terminate the Constitution of the United States. She's just making stuff up. So if you know that that he's the one who actually supports the idea of free speech. Because keep in mind, she's the one who's going around saying that we need to go after these social media companies that allow people to say things that she disagrees with. Now, she calls it misinformation. She calls it disinformation. But it's only misinformation it's only information that she disagrees with. Things like the Hunter Biden laptop. things like ivermectin, things like hydroxychloroquine, things like questioning the efficacy of wearing masks or the social distancing, or whether or not we should have shut down our businesses. All of those are things that she has advocated having shut down. Right? All of those are speech that she has said she wants to have shut down. In fact, she even lied when she talked about the fact that she didn't want to confiscate guns.
I support buybacks, and I think that, look, we have 5 million assault weapons on the streets of America, and we have 5 million assault weapons on the streets of America. And assault weapons have been designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. They are weapons of war, and there is no place for them on a civil society, on the streets of a civil society. And it's something I'm so...
So keep in mind now, when she talks about quote unquote assault weapons, first of all, there's no such thing as an assault weapon. What she's referring to are semi-automatic center-fire rifles, which are exemplified by the AR-15. That's the main one that she wants to go after. Now, the AR-15 is not a military weapon. The M16 is, the M4 is, but the AR-15 is a civilian rifle made for and designed specifically for civilians. It does not fire particularly high capacity, highly, what's the word I'm looking for? Exceptionally powerful rounds, more so than other consumer-based rifles. But here's the thing. It is not only designed specifically for civilians, but it has been around. I mean, it's the most commonly owned firearm in the country. The most commonly owned firearm is what she wants to ban. And her boss wants to ban 9mm as well, right? Now, I want to share with you this one little piece here where they talk about, where she talks about gun buybacks, right? And keep in mind, there's a difference between a voluntary gun buyback and a mandatory gun buyback. And the example that they like to use is Australia. Well, here's her talking about the Australia model, and then a little information on what happened in the Australia model.
Gun violence has terrorized and traumatized so many of our communities in this country. And let us be clear, it does not have to be this way, as our friends in Australia have demonstrated.
So I want to be clear, a mandatory buyback, they may be saying, well, we're going to give you money for your guns, but they're not going to give you market value for them. And they're going to require you, they're going to force you to give it up, and then they're going to give you money in exchange. That's gun confiscation. She just said she doesn't want to take anyone's guns. Well, guess what? Yes, she does. Because she wants to determine what guns you are allowed to have. She wants to determine how many rounds they can hold. She wants to determine how accurate they are. I mean, let's be real. A well-designed firearm is designed such that it works. It's like, we need to ban guns because guns work. We need to ban, or let me clarify, we need to ban guns that work. Guns that don't work, we're fine with. But guns that work, nope, gotta ban those. That's her perspective. Anyway, She's a lying liar who meets with lying liars. So anyway. All right, moving right along. Since we're talking about the former DA of San Francisco, let's talk a little bit about the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers this past weekend played my Dallas Cowboys. Well, let's just say it didn't go well for the Cowboys. Came close, but not really. But here's the interesting thing. Turns out that there are some Americans who happen to like the 49ers. And they decided that they were going to go to the game. And, you know, the MAGA hat, the red and white, goes somewhat well with the red and white jerseys of the 49ers. Well, that's what they thought until they tried to go to the game.
About to enter, and they stop us because my son-in-law is wearing this hat, and they don't want to let us in.
So you're not letting these folks in. So hold on. You guys are going to kick them out from where? Make America Great Again hat. Hold on.
Yep.
Hold on, we got to see the big over. You guys are going to kick these folks out. I'm sorry. These folks out.
His.
I want to know that the supervisor does not allow it in because it is not on the website. I looked it up because I knew on this hat. Would you guys have stopped me because it is the same thing?
She can't wear it?
Yeah, they said we can't wear it.
No way.
Yes. Yes. Our MAGA hat.
I don't even fuck with it, but that's right.
What? Look it. Look it. Look it.
How are you going to apply policies after I purchase my ticket?
We need that owner. Let's go. Bring somebody out.
It doesn't, you know.
Let's go.
There's nothing.
Let's go. Woo! Let's go, Trump. Woo! Every game is a hostile game. Every game is a hostile game.
He's going to allow you guys in.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
Figure. Go figure.
Okay, so this is the hat. I'm showing this a little early. So this hat right here was worn by Joey Bosa when he was when he basically photobombed an interview with Brock Purdy. Check it out.
First half, what was said during halftime? Hey, all right, Nick Bosa with a message there.
So evidently, not everybody, even on the 49ers, agrees with this particular policy. Although I think he kind of got away with it because it's actually a white one with gold as opposed to wearing a red and white hat, which I think they probably would have taken one of those away because, well, they stand out, even in the 49er thing. But I just find it funny. I find it funny that the 49ers, that the NFL of all people, by the way, the 49ers are catching a lot of grief, not just behind that, but they're catching a lot of grief behind the Bosa thing, but also behind not allowing someone to wear a hat because they're saying, well, it's too controversial, right? It could promote violence. Well, wait a minute. So if someone is wearing a hat that says "Make America Great Again," and someone else is going to engage in violence, shouldn't you be making sure that the other person doesn't wear the hat? Shouldn't you be mad when he doesn't engage in that? Right? Maybe you should make sure that the other people are not able to be out there engaged in violence, right? Right? You would think that would be the case, right? I mean, common sense would tell you that that's what you should be doing. Or does it? Because, see, I want you to keep in mind, these are the same people. This is the same team that allowed a BLM flag to fly outside their stadium, on their stadium, right? They allowed now, here's the funny part. The funny part is conservatives or people who have issues with BLM, they didn't engage in any violence because of the Black Lives Matter flag. So why is it that we're held to a different standard? Why are conservatives held to a different standard? Because we believe in Donald Trump. We want to support Donald Trump. I'll bet you they didn't have any issues with Obama hats. I'll bet you they didn't have any issues with Kamala Harris hats. right? If someone was wearing an I'm with her hat, were they going to not let them in the game? No, they were going to let them in the game. But see, because other people, because the left can't control themselves, those of us on the right have to have our rights violated. Now, I don't know what the eventual outcome. I mean, actually, let's read the story here and see if it tells us anything about what actually wound up happening by the time that was over. It says here, a San Francisco 49ers security guard reportedly, not reportedly because we just saw the video, tried to keep a family out of Sunday night's game over a MAGA hat. According to a TikTok video posted Monday, the family got into an argument with security at Levi's Stadium over a red Make America Great Again cap before eventually getting inside. The video does not specify the family identity, but does show some of the argument. Quote, we already heard all that. I don't need that. Okay, here. The TikTok user said in her caption that the tickets were scanned and they passed the checkpoints, but a separate guard said the cap could not come into Santa Clara, California stadium to watch the Niners Sunday night game against the Dallas Cowboys. Quote, we were stopped after we scanned in tickets and security checkpoints by one male asking my husband to either throw away the hat or leave the stadium. It led to a 30 to 45 minute arguing with and missing the beginning of the game just for the supervisor to let us through, the TikTok user wrote. Despite San Francisco area's famously liberal reputation, the family won bystanders' support. The woman offered thanks to all the people who stopped and spoke up as this happened in her caption. She didn't speak so kindly of the team and the stadium. What was meant to be a fun time experience for our kids turned out to be an eye-opener for us. I felt we were being discriminated against, she wrote. This usually stuff you see on social media, but never thought it would happen to you. We were disappointed in San Francisco 49ers Levi's Stadium. The 49ers had no immediate public comment after Fox News and conservative websites began reporting the video. Once again, I'll just lay it out there for you. It was true that the supervisor eventually had to let them in because there is absolutely nothing. There is nothing on their website, nothing anywhere that says that they would not be allowed to wear that hat. Now, I get it. They're a private business. They're a private venue. But you don't get to, if you're going to prohibit someone for wearing something that's against their policy or having something or having communications that are against your policy, you need to make sure you communicate that up front before they spend their money. Right? You better make sure you let them know that ahead of time. Because if you don't, then you need to sit down and shut up. But this is the sort of censorship that the left feels is okay. Now, once again, if someone were wearing an I'm with her t-shirt or an I'm with her hat, and they had done this, oh, you can bet the left would have lost their minds. Lost their minds. But that didn't happen. Anyway. All right, folks, that's now going to bring us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. We talked yesterday about the Trump rally, the Trump Nazi rally in New York at Madison Square Garden. And like I said, clearly Republicans are bad, or Donald Trump is bad at the Nazi thing, because according to the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can count on, progress. Trump holds most ethnically diverse pro-Israeli Nazi rally in history. I really don't even think there's another way to put that. I don't even need to add to that one. That one is hilarious. Anyway, we also, by the way, we talked the other day about the Democrats push now. One of the things they're doing is they're telling Republican women, It's okay. Your boyfriend, your husband, your pastor, they're not going to be there in the voting booth with you when you vote. You can vote. You can vote for Kamala. It's okay, right? Once again, fake news, according to the fake news you can count on, Babylon Bee. Wife breathes sigh of relief after voting for Trump in the privacy of her voting booth, away from the watchful eye of creepy feminist husband. Yeah, because they don't govern. They don't tell their wives how they should vote, right? By the way, California is a state, by the way, where they don't allow voter ID. In fact, there is a law specifically says that a local municipal, like if a county decided to pass an ordinance that required voter ID, they made it illegal to require your ID, requiring people to show your ID. In fact, according to the Babylon Bee, a California man was arrested for showing ID to vote. I know. And of course, it was a white guy. Of course, he would do something like that. But once again, as they stand, I was saying the other day, and I got this from Steven Crowder. This is how they do it. They lie, and when they can't lie, they're going to cheat. And this next one is in that vein. This is not from the Babylon Bee, but it's funny nonetheless. It is Kamala Harris donning what looks like a Princess Leia costume, talking to a Dominion voting machine, which I guess is supposed to be R2-D2, saying, "Help me, Dominion, you're my only hope." All right, some of you Star Wars fans will get that. The rest of you, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't get it, you don't get it. If you don't get it now, you never will. But anyway, I found that one to be quite funny. All right, folks, well, that brings us to the end of the program, and you know how it goes. We've also got to give a quick shout-out to our sponsors. We're going to start with Hitman Industries. You can find them at hitmanindustries.net, rifle and pistol caliber barrels, available for you to purchase today. Then we got the California Republican Assembly, the conscience of the Republican Party, according to Ronald Reagan. Check them out today at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. And then you got the finest in concealed carry tactical holsters at at hogholsters.com. And then finally, you can find all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. All right, now we are done with all of that. We thank you so much for tuning in. We thank you for liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Remember, if you haven't already voted, and you can vote, go ahead and get your ballot in. Less than a week, folks. Exactly 1 week till the voting ends, and we find out that, we're going to be making America great again. In any case, y'all take care, have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.